about the Browns with Joe Flacco being named their starting quarterback, I'm going to start things off with Cleveland. So, in the first game of the season, the Browns host the Bengals. I think that's going to be an L to start the season. Then they play at the Ravens. I think that's another L. Then they host the Packers. That's the best matchup that they've had all season, but it's going to be another L. Then that goes to at Detroit against the Lions. What's the first letter of Lion? L. The Browns are going to start 0-4. Then the Browns go to England, week 5, against the Vikings. And this could be the Browns' moment to play spoiler. Sam Darnold's not there anymore. I think that this is where the Browns get their first win because those overseas games are kind of murky. And so that brings the Browns to 1-4. Then the Browns are at the Steelers. I think that's an L, even with old man Rodgers. Then they host the Dolphins. I think that's another
trend here. I've seen a pattern here.
Yes. And then that brings us to week 8 when the Browns play at the Patriots. I think the Browns get a W there. So that brings the Browns to 2-6 going into their week 9 bye. Then they return. They play at the Jets. That's a tough one, but I am the founding member of the Justin Fields fan club, and so I'm going to say that's another L for the Browns. Then they host the Ravens. The Ravens are going to have their number this year. I know that in the division things get murky, but I think the Ravens will have the Browns number this year, and that's another L for the Browns. Then the Browns play at the Raiders. Geno Smith, Ashton Ginty. But we know that Vegas is basically the home field of any opposing team. And so I think the Cleveland fans are going to go out there to Vegas. They're going to have a good old time, and they're going to root on the Browns to a W on the road in Vegas against the Raiders. But then the Browns return home. They host my San Francisco 49ers, and with all the bias in my heart, I say that's another L for the Cleveland Browns. Then that brings us to week 14 when the Browns host the Titans. Cam Ward. Could be Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. And I think that will end up being a W for the Cleveland Browns. Then the Browns play at the Bears in Chicago. Caleb Williams throughout the preseason looking a lot better with Ben Johnson. I think that's an L for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns host the Bills. That's another L. Then the Browns host the Steelers week 17. Keith Joganatis, this is where they will get their first division win of the season as they defeat the Steelers in Cleveland. And then they play at the Bengals to end the season. I think that's another L for the Cleveland Browns. So if you have been keeping track at home, I have the Cleveland Browns with an overall record of 5-2, starting the season led by Joe Flacco. So I guess we'll have to wait and see if they end up having more or even less wins than I am predicting here. I felt like I was being kind of generous with a couple of those W's there, but I got the Cleveland Browns at 5-12 this season. So